Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I will show you how to deploy your Python web application in Heroku App Platform. Let's get started. Create a directory for your application. I will name it as IP Locator. Navigate inside the IP Locator directory. You have to create a virtual environment. You can check whether it is installed in your system by the following command. If it is not installed, then install it with pip3 install virtualenv. Since I have already installed it, it says requirement already satisfied. Or else it will install the virtual environment package. Now let's create the virtual environment for our application. The command to create is virtualenv followed by name of the virtual environment. I will name it IP Locator venv. Once it is successfully created, there will be a directory called IP Locator venv. You can activate the virtual environment with the following command: source IP Locator venv/bin/activate. Once it is activated, whatever Python package you install will be available within the virtual environment only. The Python application that I am going to deploy is a simple application that will display the information related to an IP address. So the packages that it will require are flask, requests, and gunicorn. The gunicorn package is specifically for Heroku App Platform. You can install a flask with the command pip3 install flask. It is a web framework for Python. Next, you can install the requests package with the command pip3 install requests. It is used to retrieve information related to an IP address. Lastly, you can install gunicorn with the command pip3 install gunicorn. It is a web server that Heroku App Platform uses to host your application. We will create a directory called templates. It will contain the HTML files. Next, we will create the app file for the Flask application. Since I have already created the application, I will just copy-paste the content of app.py file. Similarly, we will create a index.html file inside templates directory. It will contain the HTML code for the graphical user interface along with some logic inside it. I will just copy-paste the content of the file which I have already created. If you want to know how to create this application, comment down in the comments section. I will create a separate video for it. Let's check the application locally before we upload it in Heroku App Platform. Since I want to run the application in development mode, let's set the environment variable to development mode. The command is export flask_env equals development. Now to run the application, the command is flask run. By default it will run in the local host with port number 5000. Open the address in the browser. Now enter the IP address to get information related to the specific IP address. Then click on Get IP Details button. It will show the information associated with it. In order to deploy your application in Heroku App Platform, you will need to create a GitHub repository. So let's convert our application directory into the GitHub repository. Let's initialize the directory into GitHub repository format with the command git init. If git command is not recognized, make sure you install it first. Now let's add all the files into the repository with the command git add period. Now commit the changes with the command git commit m followed by commit message within the double quotation mark. Now you have made your application directory into GitHub repository format. Before uploading it into Heroku App Platform, there is two configuration file that you have to create. It is called the requirements.txt file. It will contain all the packages that are used and required to run the application. You can make the requirements.txt file with just a single command. The command is pip3 freeze greater than requirements.txt. The content of the requirements.txt file looks like this. The next file is called proc file. Inside the proc file, write the following single-line web, gunicorn app and saved it. Now add it into the GitHub repository. The command is git add requirements.txt proc file. Now commit the changes with the command git commit m followed by the commit message within the double quotation mark. In order to deploy the application into Heroku App Platform, you will require Heroku CLI interface. You can check whether it is installed or not with the following command Heroku version. If is already installed, it will show the version of it. Or else you can install it with the command sudo snap install Heroku Classic. Since I already installed it, it says I have already installed it. Now let's create the Heroku application. The command is called Heroku create. It will create a minimal Heroku application with some random URL name. You can open the URL to see how it looks like. You can also change the URL name that is before herokuapp.com. The command to change the name is Heroku rename followed by the name that you want to keep it. I want to change it to IP locator. So the command is Heroku rename IP locator. Now since the name is already taken, so I cannot rename it to that name. So let's try another name. Heroku rename IP location app. Since this name is not used, so I am able to rename it. Now let's open the new URL to see whether it is working or not. As it is accessible, the renaming is successful. Now last requirements is that make sure you have created free account in the Heroku App Platform. If not, create a one. It is free to create. Make sure you note down the username and password. Finally, it is all set to deploy the application into Heroku App Platform. Now log into the Heroku with the command Heroku Login. Now press any key, it will take to you the login user interface. Click on the login button. Since I had already logged in, it didn't ask for username and password. If you are doing for first time, it might ask you to enter the username and password. Once you are done, close it. In the terminal you will see that you are logged in as your username. Now push your application into Heroku App Platform with the command git push Heroku master. It will take few seconds to install all the dependencies. Once it is done, refresh the browser. You will see the use interface of your application. The application has two features. One is to get details of your own IP address. Other one is to get details of the specific IP address. But make sure the IP addresses are public and not the private IP address. That's all. Congratulations, you just learned how to deploy your first Python web application into Heroku App Platform. If you like my video, then give a like, comment and share the video with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.